I kicked off my shoes and dropped onto the couch. Long day, I muttered, staring at the ceiling. Mia walked in holding a glossy folder, her eyes brighter than I'd seen in weeks. Not for me. She lifted it like a prize. This could change everything. I sat up. What is it? A book deal. My book deal! Her voice cracked with pride. Luke's agency wants to publish my memoir. The name snagged in my ear. Luke? She brushed it aside. Just the agent. Don't get jealous already. She dropped the folder in my lap. I need your consent here. Partner approval. It's standard, but without it, nothing moves forward. I flipped through pages, words swimming. Legal phrases, small boxes for initials. You sure about this? Yes, she said quickly. This is what I've been waiting for. Trust me, Ethan. I hesitated, pen hovering. You sound nervous. Because I care. Because I want this dream. She leaned closer. Don't overthink it, just believe in me. Her eyes searched mine, soft and sharp at the same time. I swallowed the doubt. Always, I whispered and scribbled my name. She smiled, slipped the papers back into the folder and kissed my cheek. You won't regret this. The words hung heavy. I wanted to believe her. Later that evening, we heard the creak of our landlord's shoes outside. A letter slid under the door. I picked it up and frowned. Reminder, tenants must update marital status records if circumstances change. What the hell? Mia froze, then forced a laugh. She's paranoid. Ignore it. Feels weirdly timed. You're looking for problems. She waved it away and turned on the kettle. An hour later, Noah barged in with his usual grin, dropping onto our armchair. Heard you've been signing paperwork. Should I congratulate you or warn you? Warn me about what? I asked, handing him a beer. Man, rule 1, never sign anything without reading. Didn't law class teach you that? I smirked. That was your class, not mine. He wagged the bottle. Still, don't sign your life away, Ethan. One day you'll regret it. Mia cut in sharply. Can you not? This is serious for me. Noah raised his hands. Relax, I'm just saying, contracts bite harder than people. I tried to laugh, but his words dug deeper than he knew. That night I found Mia on the balcony, phone pressed to her ear. Her voice was low, almost tender. Yes, Luke, it's all signed. I owe you for believing in me. My stomach clenched. I stepped closer. Who's Luke? She spun around, startled. You scared me. I heard you. I owe Luke. What's going on? Her lips tightened. You're twisting things. It's just business talk. Sounded personal. She grabbed my arm. Ethan, don't do this. Don't ruin tonight, please. I searched her face. I'm not the one ruining anything. Her hand slipped away. Silence fell between us, heavy as stone. I turned back inside, heart pounding. The papers I'd signed earlier sat on the table, sealed away in that glossy folder. I stared at it, wondering if I had just written the first line of my own downfall. The next morning, I confronted her again over breakfast. Why didn't you tell me Luke was your first love? Her spoon clinked against the bowl. Who told you that? You just did, I said, watching her eyes widen. She sighed, rubbing her temple. It was years ago. It doesn't matter now. It matters if he's pulling your strings. He's not. He believes in my story. That's all. And me? What am I in your story? She stared at her coffee. You're the one who signed without hesitation. That's trust, Ethan. Don't turn it into suspicion. I bit my lip. She was right. I had signed blindly. But something about Luke's shadow in our life made me feel small, like a character I didn't write. That night, Noah called. You okay? Not really. Thought so. Your voice sounds cracked. She's hiding something. I know it. Then find out. Don't sit in silence. What if I'm wrong? He paused. What if you're not? You've got to choose, man. Doubt quietly or confront loudly. Don't rot in the middle. I closed my eyes. His words hit me harder than I wanted to admit. When I returned to the living room, Mia was waiting with the folder open again. I need one more signature. Final confirmation, I stiffened. What is it this time? Distribution rights. Just another formality. I stared at her hand holding the pen. My chest felt tight. Mia, I'm starting to feel like I'm signing things I don't even understand. Her expression softened, almost pleading. Ethan, I can't do this without you. Please, don't make me beg. Her voice cracked in a way that broke me. Against every warning in my head, I took the pen and signed again. She smiled. kissed me and whispered, "That's why I love you." But as I watched her tuck the folder away, all I felt was the cold tap in my chest growing stronger. Who was Luke, really? And why did I feel like I had just given him more than Mia ever admitted? Mia tugged at my sleeve as we stepped into the building. "Be polite, Ethan, don't make faces." "I never make faces." "You do. Especially when you don't like someone." "Then maybe I won't like him." She sighed. "Please, don't start." The glass doors slid open and we walked into a conference room that gleamed like a mirror. A man in a sharp suit stood at the head of the table. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Ethan Cole," he said smoothly, extending his hand. "Luke Harrington! I've heard..." "Fragments," I shook it. His grip was firm, almost staged. "Fragments can be misleading." "They can also be useful," he replied, before turning to Mia with a softer look. "You look exactly the same," Mia flushed, then forced a laugh. "Don't start," another voice cut in. "Shall we?" A woman with a tablet and neat hair sat to the side, sliding papers forward. "Victoria Hale, editor." "Ethan," I said, nodding. She barely looked at me, her eyes on the contracts. Luke gestured toward the stack. "Standard releases. Permissions, likeness rights, distribution notes. Nothing out of the ordinary." I sat down, flipping a few pages. "This looks more like a maze than standard." "It's publishing," Victoria said crisply. "Everyone signs. Everyone who doesn't read?" I asked. Luke leaned closer, smiling as though amused. "Trust is part of the process." "Do you not trust Mia?" The question was a knife. Mia squeezed my hand. "Ethan, it's fine, really." I stared at her. "You're sure about this angle? What exactly are you writing?" Her voice softened. "It's about courage." "About choosing yourself," Luke added smoothly. "And about truth. Readers buy honesty." "Truth is more than a brand," I muttered. Luke's eyes sharpened. "Truth is a story, Ethan. A product." I wanted to throw the contract back at him, but Mia's hand pressed harder. "Sign it," she whispered. I looked at her face. The hope, the fear, the determination. My gut screamed wait, but my pride whispered, "Don't look weak." So I signed. Again, Luke clapped his hands lightly. "Excellent. We're aligned." Victoria collected the papers, her expression unreadable. "We'll proceed with edits immediately." Mia exhaled with relief. "Thank you." I didn't say thank you. My hand still trembled from the pen. That night, I found Mia on the balcony again. Voice low against the wind. "Yes, Luke." "It's done," she murmured. The words froze me at the doorway. I stepped outside. "What's done?" She spun around. "Ethan, you were talking to him. You heard wrong." "No," I said quietly. "I heard every word." She folded her arms. "Then tell me what you think you heard." "That you promised him something I don't understand." Her eyes flashed. "It's business." "Business doesn't sound like that." "You sounded grateful. Personal." "You're twisting things again." I leaned against the railing, staring at her. "Then tell me the right thing, Mia. Tell me what's true." She hesitated, then whispered, "I told him I'd deliver." "That's all. Deliver what?" "My story. My life." She rubbed her arms as if cold. "I can't fail this, Ethan." I swallowed hard. "And me? Where do I stand in this story of yours?" She looked away. "You stand beside me. If you let yourself..." I didn't answer. The night air cut deeper than her words. Later, Noah called. "How'd it go with Mr. Agent?" "Like shaking hands with a wall," he laughed. "Told you not to trust paperwork." Or pretty smiles. It's worse than that. He used the word truth like it was a sales pitch. That's because for him, it is. "What did you do?" I closed my eyes. "I signed." "Again?" "Ethan, I couldn't embarrass her. Not in front of him. You're protecting her while she's protecting him." His voice dropped. "Wake up, man." I didn't reply. I couldn't. Back inside, Mia was waiting on the couch, phone glowing in her hands. "You're mad," she said. "I'm not mad. I'm uneasy." "You always think the worst." "No, I think the obvious." I sat across from her. "Luke isn't just your agent." "He was your first love." Her fingers froze. The silence said enough. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because it doesn't matter. It matters to me." She set the phone down. "I wanted you to trust me, not dig up old graves." "Trust requires truth," she sighed. "This isn't about Luke, it's about me finally having a chance. Can you support that without tearing it apart?" I stared at her. I want to, but every time he's around, I feel like I'm disappearing from your story. Her eyes softened, but her voice stayed sharp. Then stop disappearing. Stand with me. I'm trying, but I don't know what I'm standing on anymore. The clock ticked loudly between us. Mia whispered, I love you, Ethan, but if you can't let go of the past, this won't work. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to drown the doubts. But the echo of Luke's voice, truth is a brand, kept hammering in my head. I leaned back, whispering more to myself than to her. Truth is my life. She didn't answer, and I realized silence was its own kind of lie. The courier stopped at my desk, brown envelope in hand. Delivery for Ethan Cole. I signed, confused. Who even sends paper anymore? Daniel glanced over from his office. Open it. Might be good news. I tore it open, heart steady, until it wasn't. The first line hit me like a blade. Petition for dissolution of marriage. My voice cracked. What the? Daniel stood in the doorway. What is it? I shoved the paper toward him with shaking hands. Divorce papers? He scanned quickly, jaw tightening. Hidden inside a partner consent? This came from Harrington's firm? I nodded, unable to breathe. Daniel set the papers down. Take the day, Ethan. Fix your life. I don't even know what's left of it. Go. Don't sit here drowning in signatures. I called Mia as I stumbled out of the office. Straight to voicemail. Again. Pick up, Mia. I begged into the phone. Please tell me this is a mistake. Silence. I ran through streets I barely saw. Papers clutched like fire. When I reached the apartment, Grace was already there, arms folded. I knew it, she said softly. I felt it. Something's wrong. I dropped the envelope on the table. Wrong doesn't cover it. She filed for divorce using my own signature. Grace flipped through the pages, face hardening. They buried it inside the deal, didn't they? Waiver of contest. Irreconcilable differences. I slammed my fist against the table. I signed my marriage away without knowing. She touched my arm, voice steady. You didn't sign your love away. She weaponized it. There's a difference. I told her I trusted her, and she used that trust as ink. Then we rewrite, Ethan. She doesn't get to end your story like this. Hours later, Mia finally came home. She froze when she saw Grace, then the envelope on the table. You opened it, she whispered. I stepped forward, throat tight. You filed behind my back. Her eyes darted away. You signed, Ethan. Don't twist this. You hid divorce papers inside your book contract. Who does that? You think I wanted to? Her voice shook. I needed a future. Luke promised me a platform. A bestseller. A way out. I couldn't breathe. A way out of me? She stared at the floor. Of this life. Of waiting tables, of scraps, of feeling small. I was never enough. She flinched. Don't make it about you. How can it not be about me? You used my name, my trust, my marriage like it was nothing. Her hands trembled. I thought if I asked directly, you'd forgive me. And I'd stay. And I'd die slowly. Grace stepped between us. So you killed him fast instead? Mia's lips parted. No answer coming. I grabbed the papers, waving them. Every line screams betrayal. Did you laugh when I signed? No! She looked stricken. I cried afterward. Not enough to stop you? I couldn't stop. Luke said momentum is everything. He said I'd regret wasting the chance, Luke said. My laugh was bitter. Luke writes the script, you play the lead, and I'm just the extra who signs. Mia whispered. Don't say that. Why not? Isn't that how you wrote me? Grace's voice was sharp. Tell him the truth, Mia, all of it. Mia's shoulders sagged. Luke and we always had unfinished business. The book deal brought it back. He told me he still believed in me when no one else did. And I didn't? My voice cracked. You believed in us, Ethan. Not in me alone. I felt the world tilt. So being loved as part of something wasn't enough for you. I needed to be more than someone's wife. You could have been both. I shouted. Grace held my arm before I could lunge forward. Don't beg, Ethan. She made her choice. I sat down, head in my hands. Do you know what you've done to me? To us? Mia's voice was almost a whisper. I know. No, you don't. This isn't just a broken vow. It's a trap. You had me sign away my voice. Tears filled her eyes. I thought I'd feel free. But all I feel is empty. Grace shook her head. You don't get to cry now. Not after you burned him. Mia looked at me desperately. Ethan, say something. Yell, hate me, anything. Just don't go silent. I lifted my head, hollow. You don't deserve my words anymore. Her tears spilled. She turned toward the door, but Grace blocked her path. You think you get to walk away easy? Grace hissed. You'll face this. All of it, Mia whispered. I already am. Later that night, Grace sat beside me on the couch. You're too quiet, she said. What's left to say? That you're still alive. That you still matter outside her shadow. I stared at the envelope on the table. That thing is still warm, like it carries her fingerprints. Then burn it, Grace said. I can't. It's the scar I carry now. She touched my shoulder. Then let it remind you. Not of how she ended things, but of how you'll begin again, I whispered. Rewrite. Yes, rewrite. I texted Mia once more before bed. Why really? Her reply came minutes later. Because Luke promised me a future and a bestseller. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My chest tightened with a new bitter truth. Sometimes betrayal isn't about hating you. It's about loving themselves more. I put the phone face down, the room dark. Grace's quiet breathing beside me, the only proof I wasn't alone. But inside, I was ice. Served cold. Grace tapped her fingers on the steering wheel as we pulled up to a gray office building. Who are we seeing? I asked, still half numb. Ava Sinclair. Divorce lawyer. She doesn't blink when people lie. I don't need a lawyer. I need my life back. Grace shot me a look. You need both. Inside, Ava stood as we entered. Calm eyes, pen in her hand like an extension of her fingers. Ethan Cole? She asked. Yeah, I muttered. Victim of my own signature. Sit, she said simply. I dropped into the chair. Grace crossed her arms like she was guarding me. Ava flipped open a notepad. Tell me everything. I signed without reading. Twice. First was partner consent. Second was distribution rights. Both buried divorce papers. Her expression didn't flicker. Hidden filings? Yes, Luke Harrington's firm. He's her agent. Victoria Hale was there too. They pushed standard releases, she wrote quickly. Conflict of interest. Possible misrepresentation, I leaned forward. Can I undo it? We can challenge consent if it was deceptive. Her voice was steady, clinical. Did they mislabel forms? Yes, they looked like publishing contracts. Did anyone advise you to read carefully? Luke said trust was part of the process. Not legal advice, she said sharply. Grace cut in. So we can fight? Ava nodded once. If the contract packaged legal consent inside a publishing release, we argue fraud. I rubbed my temples. I want revenge, Ava, not just justice. I want them to feel what I feel. She finally looked at me directly. Revenge is smoke. It looks powerful but disappears fast. We need fire, proof. Her words hit harder than Mia's betrayal. Grace leaned closer to me. Listen to her. She's not here to comfort you. She's here to win. Ava tapped her pen. What evidence do we have? Texts, I said, emails. And my landlord, Mrs. Whitaker, slid a letter about marital status the same day I signed. Good, Ava said. That note can prove they anticipated legal changes before informing you. Grace almost smiled. I told you she doesn't blink. Ava set her pen down. Here's the plan. We gather every message between Mia and Luke, every draft, every timestamp. Anything that shows deception. We subpoena Harrington's firm if necessary. We question Victoria's role. Editors aren't lawyers. If she pushed paperwork, she crossed the line. I exhaled, dizzy. That sounds like a war. Ava's voice didn't rise. It is, but one we can win. Grace nudged me. Say yes. I looked at Ava. What do I have to do? Stop reacting. Start collecting. Screenshot everything. Record every call. Keep the anger, but use it. Your pain is valid, Ethan. Let's make it useful. Her words cut clean, sharper than rage. As we left her office, Grace whispered, She's the right one. She didn't even blink when I said I ruined myself. Because she's already rewriting your ending, Grace said. All you have to do is keep walking. That night, alone in my apartment, I stared at my phone. I typed, I deserve the truth. Minutes passed. Then Mia's reply appeared. So did I. I sat frozen, reading the words again and again. What truth did she think she deserved? What lie did she carry? I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but instead, I let it rest on my chest as I whispered into the dark. I don't know what hurts more, what you did, or what you're still hiding. And the silence that followed felt heavier than her betrayal. The morning the book launched, I walked into the cafe half dazed. Lily slid a black coffee across the counter. Rough day? You could say that, she leaned closer. If I were you, I'd read page 217. I blinked. Why? Because you'll want to know what she wrote before everyone else does. My hands shook as I opened the book. Page 217 stabbed me. He clung to me like an anchor. I could have flown, but his fear kept me grounded. A small man afraid of big dreams. The words blurred. Lily whispered, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told you. No, I said hoarsely. I needed to see it. What will you do? I closed the book, my jaw tight. I'll go to the launch. The hall was crowded, lights hot and sharp. Victoria smiled at cameras like she owned them. Luke stood at the mic, polished, rehearsed. Tonight, Luke announced, we celebrate truth and courage. I wanted to vomit. Mia stepped up in a red dress, glowing under the lights. She waved at the crowd. I could barely breathe. Someone asked about her inspiration. My past, she said proudly. The people who shaped me. Even the ones who held me back. Laughter. Applause. I clenched my fists. Luke scanned the crowd. Any final questions? I raised my hand. He hesitated. Yes, sir? I stepped forward. My voice carried. I'm Ethan, the husband in chapter 12. The room froze. Cameras turned toward me. I held up the envelope. Here's the filing date you forgot to mention. Gasps rippled through the hall. Phones lifted. Mia's face cracked like glass. Ethan, I cut her off. You wrote me as dead weight. But it was your lies that sank us, Luke stepped forward. This isn't the time. Truth doesn't follow schedules, I said sharply. The audience murmured, restless. Victoria tried to wave it off. Let's return to celebrating the book. Celebrating fraud? I asked. Someone shouted, let him speak. Mia's mother, Carol, pushed through the crowd. Her eyes brimmed with tears. Mia, what did you do? She cried. Mia's lips trembled. Mom, please! Carol's voice shook. How could you use him like this? Security moved toward me. I raised a hand calmly. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to say one thing. I turned to Mia, every word steady. I loved you. You used me. Cameras flashed. The hall was silent except for the click of lenses. Security reached me. Sir, you need to leave. I didn't struggle. Bestsellers fade. Court records don't. The words echoed louder than the mic. As they walked me out, I heard whispers. Is it true? Did she really? Mia's voice followed me faintly. Ethan, wait! But I didn't wait. Outside, Lily caught me by the arm. You actually went up there? Yes, she shook her head, half in awe. You burned the stage without touching it, I exhaled, trembling. Page 217 will haunt me forever. Or remind you, she said softly. That you were never the small one, Grace called immediately. What did you do? Spoke the truth. Tell me you didn't get arrested. Not yet, I said. She sighed, half angry, half proud. You just turned her launch into a trial. Good. That's what it should have been. Later that night, Carol called me. Her voice broke. Ethan, I don't know what to say. I raised her better than this. She made her choice, I said quietly. She destroyed her own family in the process. I closed my eyes. She destroyed mine first, Carol whispered. I'm sorry for her. And for you. I sat alone after staring at the book again. The cover showed a woman looking past a man's shoulder. Past me, I whispered. Maybe she never looked at me at all. The phone buzzed. A new message. Mia. You humiliated me tonight. I typed back, no, you did that yourself. I didn't hit send. Not yet, Grace texted. Are you safe? Yeah, I replied. But I don't feel it. That's okay, she answered. Feeling comes later. For now, you stood your ground. I set the book down, opened to page 217 again. My name wasn't there, but it was me. My fear, my supposed weakness. I whispered to the empty room. If being careful makes me small, then so be it. At least I didn't destroy the one person who loved me. The silence didn't argue, but the scar of that page carved itself into me. Permanent ink I never asked for. Grace tossed her phone on the table. "You've gone viral again," I groaned. "For what this time?" "Half the internet calls you brave. The other half says you're a bitter ex who can't move on." I rubbed my face. "So I'm both hero and villain, depending on the scroll." She leaned closer. "What do you care what strangers think?" "Because Mia's out there shaping the story, and I'm just reacting." Before she could answer, a new message lit up my screen. Unknown sender. Oliver Grant. I found overlaps between Mia's memoir and an old campus zine Luke edited. "Do you want proof?" I typed back instantly. "Show me." An hour later, we sat across from Oliver in a cramped coffee shop. He was younger than I expected. Wiry, restless, eyes sharp. He slid photocopied pages across the table. "See these lines? Identical." Luke's old editorial, word for word, slipped into Mia's original memoir. My chest tightened. "Plagiarism," Oliver nodded. "And not small. Whole sections. If I publish this, it'll explode." Grace raised an eyebrow. "Why tell us first?" Oliver shrugged. "Because you're living in the blast radius." "Fair warning," I looked at him. "And if I say yes?" "Then I publish tomorrow." I leaned back, dizzy. "Do it, let the world see," Oliver smirked. "Thought you'd say that?" Later I called Ava. "Plagiarism?" She repeated. "Yes, Oliver found evidence. Whole paragraphs lifted. That strengthens our case. Proves Luke and Mia manipulated both legal and creative texts. Judges hate liars who profit. What do we do now?" "Sit tight. Let the internet tear at the edges while I prepare motions." Her voice was steady, but I asked, "And revenge?" "You're still chasing it?" "Yes. Ethan, revenge is a spark. But justice is fire." "Which one keeps you warm longer?" I said nothing. At work, Daniel called me into his office. "Close the door," he said. I did, expecting a lecture. Instead, he dropped a folder on the desk. Campaign proposal, theme, consent and clarity. Transparent contracts, honest deals. "You'd write it." My stomach twisted. "You want me to use my disaster as marketing?" He didn't flinch. "You can turn this into meaning, or you can stay stuck in bitterness." "Your call," I shook my head. "Feels exploitative or redemptive." "Depends on how you write it," I muttered. "Feels too soon." Daniel leaned forward. "Everything feels too soon until you start. Think about it." That evening, Mia texted, "Meet me. Park. Tonight." Grace frowned when she saw it. "You're not going." "I have to. She'll twist you again. I just need answers." Grace sighed. "Fine. But if she cuts you open again, don't say I didn't warn you." The park was quiet, thunder rumbling in the distance. Mia stood by the bench, arms folded, rain in her hair. "You came," she whispered. "Of course I did." She looked down. "I wanted out, Ethan, but I wanted my dream more." I swallowed. "Why not just talk to me? Why bury it in contracts?" Her eyes shone. "Because you would forgive me. And if you forgave me, I'd stay. And if I stayed, I'd stay small." I stared at her, stunned. "So my love was a cage?" She shook her head quickly. "No, my fear was, you just made it easier to ignore." Thunder cracked overhead. I whispered, "I'm not your cage." She looked at me, broken. "And I'm not your safe story." Silence pressed between us, heavy as the storm. I sat beside her on the wet bench. "We broke each other." She nodded, tears running. "We did." "Then why do I still feel like I lost more?" "Because you loved more." The honesty cut deeper than her lies ever did. We sat there as rain began to fall. No umbrella, no cover. I finally stood. "This is the cost, Mia. Truth. It doesn't just set you free. It burns everything else down," she whispered. "I know." I turned away before I could say anything I'd regret. Later, back home, Grace asked, "Did you get your answers?" "Some," I said quietly. "And?" She wanted freedom more than she wanted me. And maybe I wanted her more than I wanted myself. Grace touched my arm gently. "So what now?" I looked out the window at the rain-soaked street. Now, I stopped being her story and start writing mine. The conference room was too quiet, the kind of quiet that made my chest ache. Papers lined the table, polished wood reflecting my face back at me, two versions of me, the broken one and the one trying to stand. Ava leaned close. "Stay calm. Let me do the cutting." "I trust you," I whispered. She adjusted her glasses and began. We filed motions citing deceptive packaging of legal consent within publishing paperwork, conflict of interest with Mr. Harrington's firm, and evidence of plagiarism tied to his editorial history. Today we want clarity. Across the table, Luke adjusted his tie. Victoria sat stiff, eyes fixed on the papers, not me. Mia sat between them, pale, hands trembling. Ava's voice didn't waver. Did your team advise Ethan Cole that signing the so-called release also waived his right to contest divorce? Silence stretched. Then Victoria's lips parted. Yes, Ava's pen tapped once. So you admit you disguised marital dissolution within unrelated publishing paperwork. Luke snapped, that was a legal oversight, not oversight, Ava cut in. Deception, I swallowed hard. My voice came out low. You didn't have to destroy me to become you. Mia's head bowed lower, but she didn't speak. Ava pressed on. Regarding conflict of interest, Mr. Harrington, you acted both as Ms. Bennett's agent and as an officer of the firm that filed the divorce petition. Correct? Luke shifted. It's not unusual, correct? Ava's tone sliced. Yes, he muttered, which means you profited from a personal dissolution you engineered. That is textbook misconduct. Victoria exhaled sharply. I was following timelines. Luke said speed was everything. Luke glared at her. Don't put this on me. It was your plan. She snapped. The cracks widened right there at the table. Ava laid out Oliver's copies of the zine against Mia's memoir. And here. Whole passages lifted. Do you deny these overlaps? Victoria's face drained of color. I didn't cross-check. Luke slammed a hand on the table. It doesn't matter. Readers want her voice. Ava didn't flinch. A stolen voice is not a voice. It's theft. She slid the papers toward Mia. You knew? Mia's whisper was barely audible. Luke said it was fine. Luke spat. I said it was industry practice? Ava leaned back, satisfied. Then we're done here. The mediator finally spoke. Mr. Cole, what are you asking for? I looked at the reflection of myself on the table. My chest ached, but my voice was steady. I want my rights back. My share of any profits that used my name, my image, my marriage, and a printed correction, acknowledging the deception. Luke scoffed. You'll ruin her career, I met his eyes. No, she ruined it herself. I'm just refusing to be collateral, Victoria muttered. We can negotiate. Ava tapped her pen again. We're not negotiating fraud. We're correcting it. Mia finally lifted her face. Tears streaked her cheeks. Ethan, I didn't mean... Stop, I said quietly. You meant it enough to let it happen. You watched me sign twice. You listened to him tell you lies and let me bleed for them. Her lips quivered. I thought I'd feel free. You only chained us both, I said. The mediator scribbled notes. Settlement proposal. Mr. Cole retains rights, profits allocated proportionally, and public correction issued. Ava nodded. Accepted. Luke pushed back his chair. This is absurd. You're gutting her career. Ava's calm eyes pinned him. You gutted his life. Balance is fair, silence filled the room. My reflection on the table looked back at me. One face broken, one standing. For the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't signing away pieces of myself. I was reclaiming them. The new apartment smelled of fresh paint and emptiness. Sunlight poured through the bright window like it was trying to claim me. Noah dropped a greasy pizza box on the table. Man, this place is small, but that window? That's freedom. Grace set a plant on the sill. And this little guy will remind you you're alive. Don't kill it, I laughed faintly. No promises. Noah grabbed a slice. You needed this. Space that's yours, not hers. Grace looked at me firmly. Don't say you feel guilty. She made her choice. You're allowed to breathe again. I know, I said quietly. It just feels strange to breathe without her shadow. My phone buzzed. A text from Lily. Check the shelves today. She sent a picture. Mia's book sat with a notice taped to the cover. Substantial revisions pending. Noah peered at the photo. That's karma stapled to a shelf, Grace smirked. Poetic justice. She wrote lies, and now she has to rewrite truth. I whispered. Funny. Rewriting was supposed to be mine. Another ping. Oliver's article headline flashed. Plagiarism in a bestseller. What the industry missed. I read aloud. Sections lifted directly from Luke Harrington's college zine. Credibility shredded, Noah whistled. That guy doesn't pull punches, Grace grinned. Good, let the truth trend for once. The screen lit up again. A message from Carol, I'm sorry for her. And proud of you. I stared at the words, throat tightening. Even her mother sees it. Grace touched my shoulder. That's because you stood tall when she fell. Later that week, another message arrived. This time from Mia, meet me. Riverbench, please. Noah saw my expression. Don't. Nothing good comes from reopening wounds. Grace frowned. She'll try to drag you back. I pocketed the phone. I need closure. The river was calm, pale gold light stretching across the water. Mia sat on the bench, smaller than I remembered, eyes red. You came, she whispered. I almost didn't. She looked at the ground. I thought the book would free me. Instead, it caged me to my worst choice. I stayed standing. You chose lies over love. Her tears glistened. I thought success would fix me, but it only exposed me. I sat slowly, leaving space between us. You could have talked to me. Told me the truth. She shook her head. You would have forgiven me. And then I'd never leave, and I'd keep resenting you. That's not fair. It's not, she admitted, but it's what I felt. I stared at the river. I'm not your cage, Mia. I never was. She turned to me, desperate. And I wasn't your safe story. I broke it. I broke us. Silence stretched, filled only by water and wind. Finally, I said, I forgive you, but I won't go back. Her breath hitched, tears sliding down. You really mean that? Yes, my voice was steady. This is the end. Not for you, maybe, but for me. She buried her face in her hands, sobbing quietly. Real, human, broken. I stood, heart heavy but unshaken. The sky glowed pale gold, reflected in the river like a page being turned. I whispered, so only the air could hear. This is the last page I write about you. And for once, I meant it.